Good afternoon. This is Lindsay, and I am going to talk today about narcissistic abuse in a relationship. In this type of relationship, I'm speaking specifically of a romantic, intimate relationship, and I want to talk about how they use love bombing and how they use future faking basically to lure you into a trap of deception and manipulation. And some of what the tactics that they do. So, okay, supposing you met this person online or whatever, they expressed an interest in you, and throughout over time, you developed a relationship by communicating, obviously, probably by on the phone or whatever, texting, emails and whatnot. So you two have developed some kind of a relationship. And maybe this has gone on for several months. Maybe it's gone on for a year. I don't know. It varies, okay? So you think that, there's something here that I think there's potential. There seems to be some kind of a connection that we have. Or, this person really, we have a lot in common. Or they seem to understand me. They claim that they can understand what I've gone through or what I'm going through, and they claim to want to get to know me better, and that they really want to be with me, and this, that, and the other. Okay, so whatever. These things, they sound really good, right? All these kinds of words and flattery sounds great to somebody who may be vulnerable, or in a position of vulnerability, or somebody who is lonely, or whatever. These are the kinds of things that are going to sound really flattering to somebody when all of a sudden you get contacted by somebody who you feel like you're attracted to, and vice versa, and they're telling you all these flattering things. Okay, and maybe there's a few red flags going off in your brain at this time. There might be some red flags that you might be overlooking because you feel so enamored, or so what's the word I'm looking for? You feel so happy, you feel so elated that, wow, this is interesting. This person, this really could be something that's real. This could be a good opportunity. So you're thinking positively at these stages because you really want this to work, and you feel like, this is what I've been waiting for. This seems too good to be true. And usually when something seems too good to be true, if it seems or sounds too good to be true, it's usually because it is. There's usually something that you might be overlooking, or something that's not right, and that right there could indicate a potential red flag that you need to pay closer attention to, especially when dealing with somebody who is exhibiting grandiosity, narcissistic traits, what have you. And these people are very sly. You might be dealing with somebody who's more of an overt narcissist, or they could be covert. They could be a somatic narcissist, or they might be a cerebral narcissistic individual. All of which are dangerous, because these people, just because there's different categories of narcissism, it's all just as bad. It's all just as toxic and as toxic as any of them. There's not one that's worse than the other, in my opinion, except the ones who usually get away with the most are the believe it or not, I would say the covert narcissists are the ones who get away with the most abuse, because they manipulate quite well. But what they'll do, okay, so back to what I was saying, they're gonna love bomb you initially before you've ever met the person. You've been talking to them online. You've been talking to them via email, Facebook, whatever, phone, telephone, messaging. And they start, and all of a sudden they tell you they love you. But you're like, they love me, but they've never met me in person. So how is it that they love me, but they've never met me? Is it possible to really fall in love with somebody just by seeing them, by watching them on maybe a YouTube video or something? Is that really possible to feel those kinds of intense feelings for a person that you've never met in the flesh? Well, it's possible that you can have, obviously, these intense feelings for somebody, but it's not, let me tell you one thing, it's not love, because for a person to really love you in a genuine kind of way, they have to know you. They have to have met you in person, in the flesh, in person. They have to know you. They can't just have seen you on a YouTube video or whatever, and all of a sudden they're in love with you, or seen a photo of you or whatever, and all of a sudden they tell you they love you. That right there is a red flag, okay? And you're going to overlook it because you're going to feel so flattered and so overwhelmed with emotions that you're going to overlook these major red flags that are right there in front of you in the beginning of any kind of a relationship with these people. And a lot of the times you're going to find that, because I speak from experience. Once again, I've had these things happen to me in the past. I've lived through it, so I can talk about it. I've actually lived through these things that I talk about. That's why I feel that I'm able to talk about these topics, because I've gone through it and experienced it and seen for myself the outcomes and what happens, what can happen. So yeah, like maybe this person is in a foreign country, right? Maybe they're of a different culture from you. Maybe they don't really speak your language, or maybe they speak a little bit of your language. But nonetheless, you're going to feel flattered, obviously. It's going to be exciting. You're going to feel, all kinds of different emotions when you're around, when you're talking to them, or when they contact you or whatever, because it's exciting. And of course it's exciting because it's new. It's interesting, it's different, it's exotic, and you're gonna feel happy, overwhelmed, scared, like the butterflies. You get all these butterfly feelings, and when you talk to that person or whatever. But you have to understand, or you should understand, that that's not always a good thing. The butterfly feeling that you get when you speak to these people could be a warning. And I say that a lot of these people are narcissistic because, no, they haven't necessarily been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder, but after talking to them and whatnot, that they've clearly got some personality defects or some traits that scream out narcissism to you. After you've been through your life and you know what to look for, and you've been around these kinds of individuals, you kind of already know what you might be dealing with. But you might want to put it to the test. And so you put it to the test. Well, watch out for the love bombing, because like I said, this is all part of the narcissistic abuse cycle. The love bombing, the praising, the putting you up on a pedestal, the admiration, the adulation, idolizing you, telling you you're great, you're beautiful, I love you, you're wonderful, I'm so glad I met you, you're my soulmate. You're going to hear things like that they tell you. And then you meet the person, right? Say that you actually end up meeting that person. And then once again, things are great, right? Things are going pretty well in the first couple weeks and month. Obviously, the first couple months, things are going pretty well. And you have your ups and downs, you have your disagreements for sure, and your differences. But you feel like, this person came out of their way to come stay with me. They must be serious. They tell me they love me. This couldn't be just a lie. But then when you start to really think about it, also you're like, well, let me think about how that person found me, and what are their future goals, okay? And you find out that, well, they're in a position in their own country that they're not happy with. They're miserable, maybe because of work, or they're not finding the right employment. They're having monetary issues, or having other issues that maybe you don't know about, maybe some issues with their family, maybe some issues with an ex-lover, or things are just not going so great for them at home. So they see you as a potential opportunity, somebody who can help them get a new life or start something over. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with people who want to start a new life in a different country, and start over, and erase their past and get away from it. We all do that. We all like to start over, and start with a clean slate and new people and whatnot, in a new place, a new environment, new opportunities. This makes perfectly good sense. But with these individuals, unfortunately, a lot of the time, you'll start to connect the dots, and you're going to see that there's red flags as far as like them being kind of pushy about, talking about marriage and talking about these kinds of things, about what's going to happen in the future and what they want to do and how you're going to be part of their future, and they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and of course they include you in all of this, and it sounds so wonderful, like maybe this is like some kind of fantasy. This can't really be real because but as time goes on, the mask that the narcissistic person, or person with these narcissistic traits, the mask starts to slip. They start to reveal their true colors over time when you're spending more and more time with them. Maybe they're living with you or whatever, or y'all are seeing each other every day. You're in an intimate relationship now, and you think that it's you. In your mind, you think that, yeah, this is a serious relationship. This person wants to marry me. This person loves me. And what's going on right now is that you're developing a trauma bond. This is all part of the trauma bond phase of the narcissistic relationship. And they do that on purpose to get you so hooked on them, and this false idea of, these illusions of perfection and whatnot, of a great future together, and all this, that you get so enamored with that idea that you don't even really think twice about what you're doing and what kind of harm you potentially might be causing yourself. Because most of the time, these people who come here looking for an opportunity, or who are looking for a person in a different country, maybe they're from whatever country, third world country perhaps, and they're looking to meet an American citizen, a U.S. citizen, because a lot of the times these people are interested in getting a green card. Okay, and how is it the easiest way? I could be an expert at this topic because, like I said, I went through this. I was married to a man who did this to me years ago. I actually was in a marriage that was based on green card fraud. This man manipulated me and duped me into marrying him, and it was all a sham. He just wanted a green card. Stupid me didn't realize that. I learned the hard way. But so, unfortunately, a lot of these times, these people, they're very flattering. They might be very attractive or whatever, smart, this, that. They're going to have good qualities, but you're going to see that they've also got a lot of negative traits, and that they want an opportunity, and they're trying to find an easy way to get a green card, which is usually by marriage. The easiest way for a person to obtain U.S. citizenship is through marriage. Green card via marriage to a U.S. citizen. A lot of the times they can get it through work, a work visa, but that's not easy. That's very difficult for most of these people. So, they might have their agenda, they might have it all planned out in their mind, what they're going to do, and you're gonna be the savior. You're like their knight in shining armor, that here you are saving that person from their misery back home. But usually, I'll tell you one thing for sure, it's never as bad as they make it sound out. They make it seem like things are just horrible for them there, that they don't have any money, that they can't get a job, that it's just awful. And usually that's not the case. Usually they have a nice house, or they have a decent family. They're not impoverished. They just exaggerate the situation so that you feel pity, perhaps. And I say that the people who do these kinds of manipulative tricks on an unwitting individual, a vulnerable individual, these clearly are narcissistic individuals. I don't care what anybody says. If somebody is using you for an opportunity to get a green card, or they have done that to you already, they are, in my mind, they are 100% opportunist narcissists. And they should not be, you should not give them your energy, your time, your money, your affection, your attention, anything, because they see you as just a path of something to help them, to elevate them, but they're going to use you and they're going to stomp all over you as soon as they get what they want. And that's going to be the way it's going to usually ends up, because about 90% of these green card marriages fail. Actually, it's like I think 1 in 10 of these marriages last. The rest are doomed. And that's what, according to some statistics that I found out by doing research on YouTube and the internet about green card marriage fraud. But I'm bringing in right now the whole narcissistic trait to it, because there's a lot of narcissistic abuse that goes hand in hand with this type of thing. Indeed, there is, because I don't know what else to call it or how else to explain it. But anyway, so back to the whole, forget about the green card thing, forget about that, but just so happens that you're with an individual and it's like this love bombing thing and all that, and then you're going to see that starts after the mask slips from the individual, the narcissist. You start to see their true colors, and you're going to see that they have flaws just like everybody else. And as soon as they realize that you too are not perfect and that you also have your flaws, whoa, watch out, because you're not perfect? What? You mean you're not some perfect angel who's going to do everything and bend over backwards to please them? Wait a minute. Then guess what that means to them? Guess what that means? Wow. Now you get knocked off the pedestal, and now we begin what is known as the devaluation phase of the narcissistic abuse cycle relationship. Okay? And that is when they start to make comments about you, drag you down, criticize the way you cook, the way you look, what you eat, the way you dress, what your habits are. They start to nitpick at every little thing about you and your personality, which makes you who you are, and they start to analyze it and micro, dissect everything to make you feel confused or upset, embarrassed, whatever their agenda is, they're going to do it, because that's a devaluation. The love bombing is kind of going, it's pretty much faded out. No more I love you, no more you're beautiful, or I want to spend none of that. That's over within about a month or two usually. That shit's gone, okay? Because you already probably caused a bit of a narcissistic injury by calling them out for something or something that you, and so now that you've caused a narcissistic injury and you've blown their cover and the mask is slipped, well, they can't, that's not going to work. No, because once they realize that you're not a perfect person, that you have your flaws, that you have your dilemmas, that you're just like everybody else, you're not better than anyone else or whatever. Ooh, no. You're no longer anything special to them, because at first they idolize you. You're wonderful. You're the best thing. You're perfect. But no, not anymore, because you got imperfections and you're not perfect, and maybe you're not as pretty, attractive anymore. Maybe you put on a little bit of weight, or your makeup's not right, or your hair, or you put too much salt in the food that you cooked. I don't know, but those are just some examples of the petty bullshit things that they're gonna call you out for. Um, but anyway, you're going to see the devaluation process going on. In addition to little bits and tidbits of love bombing here and there, just to remind you, they're going to do that to confuse the shit out of you. They're going to love bomb you, yet devalue you at the same time. And then, so, it's like, this is fucked up. You realize that this person is very unstable. And then guess what they project? They call you. You're the one who's unstable. You're the one who's moody. You're the one who's upset. When they're the ones who are gaslighting you and projecting a lot of their insecurities onto you. They blame shift. They blame shift because they do not want to take accountability for anything that they've done. For example, maybe they are addicted to their smartphone or whatever, their iPhone, smartphone, whatever the hell the thing is, a cell phone. They're always on their phone when they're with you, or they're always late at night texting or doing stuff on their phone. And you think, well, gosh, we're supposed to be spending some quality time together, getting to know each other. After all, we've only known each other for a few months in person, but yet they spend so much time on their phone and doing texting people, and they've got hundreds of all these different contacts of all these people on their phone, and it's like, wow, you've got quite a harem garage or supply of people, don't you? Because these people, I don't care if they're male or female narcissists, they always have a huge harem garage of all their exes, people who they just met at the grocery store, people who they met at the taqueria or corner restaurant or the convenience store, the park, the gym. They are going to have a collection a mile long of all their contacts. And God forbid should you know about those, because that's how they get their supply. They have to have a constant influx of narcissistic supply. And when the well is running dry, it's time to get out there and find more. Let me get on Facebook. Let me do what I have to do to get more supply, because they cannot live without without the supply of other individuals, whether it be people always giving them compliments, people always boosting their ego. They need constant supply, and usually it's a need of having that from the opposite sex. Okay, if it's a man, he wants to make sure that he's got a lot of women in his contact list or whatever, so that he can constantly be flirting with them and and you're going to find out that that these women don't even know that he's involved with anybody, because he tells them that he's single. Okay, he wants everybody to think that he's single. He doesn't want anybody to know about you. No, maybe his family back home knows about you, but that's it. Because other than that, oh God, no. He's got to portray the image of the cool, I'm single, I'm available, and here I am man. Even though you'll find that these people often get involved, they triangulate you with other people from their past, usually ex-boyfriends or girlfriends, whatever. They triangulate, they lie a lot, and they try to cover their lies, but you will catch them in a lie, and they usually tell on themselves. But they keep a lot of secrets. They love to be secretive, and they're they get real guarded and crazy over things like their cell phone, because no, don't look at that. They've got their combination lock on their cell phone or their whatever, but no, God forbid should you dare know who they're contacting or who they're constantly texting at 2 a.m. in the morning or whatever. No. That's a secret. That's off limits. Even though they love you, they want to marry you, and supposedly you're the love of their life. No, God forbid should you know about any of the other women that they are actively texting. No. Well, ladies, if you're involved with a man like that, look for the, be cognizant. Men, same thing with you. If you're involved with a woman who's doing that crap to you, look out for the red flags and pay attention to your instincts and your intuition. If your gut feeling is telling you that something is off, something doesn't feel quite right about this relationship, then maybe you need to really take a step back and analyze it from a different angle and listen to your intuition. Don't ignore it. You might be wrong, but you might be partly right at the same time. I'm just saying, don't you better spot out these things before it gets way too late. And supposing you actually do get married to this person, and then that's when the shit really hits a fan, because then you become an object of more abuse, perhaps, or that could happen, And don't do that before it's too late. I'm saying that you need to really get to know that person before you make any kind of a serious commitment, because a lot of times people just nowadays see marriage as an easy way out. It's an excuse to even abuse you and control you even more, because a lot of men use marriage to control women. Marriage is not always what it's cracked up to be, obviously. Obviously, and especially if somebody's just trying to get a green card and you marrying somebody so that they can get a green card or help to get a green card, which is still no guarantee, because even if you're married to them, it's still quite a process with the immigration, whatever people, because they still have to go through a long process, and it takes about maybe 3 years before that marriage is actually finalized and accepted, and then they get their green card a lot of the time. But a lot of the times, from what I've read and heard, and what happened to me, is that they'll marry you, and the minute they get that fucking, pardon my language, the minute these people get that residency thing, those papers, woo, they're done with you. That's it. They either discard you in a cruel way, vindictive, cruel way, they abandon you, or obviously they purposely will cause arguments and fights with you so that they can get out of the house and do their own thing. They're going to do things. You're going to find out that once they're married to you, I went through it myself, that they're going to start to, really start abusing you psychologically, maybe physically as well. But that's when they're going to divorce. You're going to find out that the real reason that they wanted to marry you. Okay, you'll find out. They don't waste their time with that. They are very aggressive individuals, very aggressive a lot of times. So, the discard phase of the narcissistic relationship, or the devaluation phase, inevitably is going to lead to the discard, the final discard. It's normally never quite a final discard, but sometimes it's a final discard, the grand finale. And you'll notice all the signs, everything kind of stops. The intimacy cools down dramatically. Y'all are not, things have changed in the relationship. There's no more anything. It's just like dead almost. And you can feel it. The intensity or the energy has changed in the room with that person when you're going through the devaluation and ultimately what leads to the discard. So, like I said, I can go on and on about narcissist people, and I'm just speaking from my own experience, like I said, but they always have secrets. They always keep you confused. They gaslight. They manipulate. Now, they're very charming, and they've got good qualities, obviously, but when you're dealing with somebody who has these characteristics. They don't change. Don't try to change them, and you should probably not call them out for it. You should probably, if you once they know that you know what they are or who they are, they're gonna let you know that they know that you know who they are, but because they're gonna treat you, they're gonna start punishing you, and then severely devaluation stage. But they punish you, manipulate, gaslight, because once that mask has slipped, There's no going back. You cannot go back to the way things were in the first stages. It's not going to happen. And if it does, if they come back for a Hoover and you accept it, it's only going to get worse. If you let them back in after you catch them cheating, lying to you, whatever. And by the way, my advice for anybody, I don't care who you're dealing with, how much you love your husband or wife or your significant other, if they cheat on you, in my opinion, that's the ultimate betrayal right there, is infidelity with someone else behind your back. Okay? Unless you two have some kind of an open relationship where it's agreed that you can sleep with other people and whatnot, or flirt or go out with other individuals, okay. But if you don't, then that's called cheating, and that's a no-no, and you shouldn't accept that. Because if you accept a cheater back into your life after they've done it once, they're going to do it again. Once a cheater, always a cheater, okay? And if you started the relationship with them because they were cheating on someone else to be with you, not good. Not good either, because think about how that relationship with you started. They cheated on their significant other to be with you. Well, they're going to do the same thing to you, and they're going to do the same thing to the next victim, and so on and so on. Unfortunately, as much as you people want to think otherwise and try to play like this shit is not happening in your relationship, even though you're allowing your significant other to do this, you're only setting yourself up for it. You're letting it happen until you call the shots. You are in control. Realize that in a narcissistic relationship, you call the shots. You're in control. You tell them when you want to end. You discard them before they do it to you. Because either way, it's going to happen. If you don't do it first, they're going to do it. But either way, if you discard them, just realize that it was inevitable, and it's the best thing for both of you, and especially you, for your sanity and healthy state of mind and well-being. To try to remain in a relationship like that and try to fix it and mend it when you know that there's nothing you can do. There's no amount of talking to that person. There's no amount of anything that you can do to change who they are or change what they think. And obviously, cheating or this kind of thing is a clear indication that they do not respect you. And if they don't respect you and you take them back, then they see that you're stupid. They just see you as being an idiot, fool, numbskull who's going to put up with anything, and that just enables them to abuse you even more. That's all they see you as, a fool who doesn't care that you're being abused. So my advice, run away, walk away, get out of it while the getting is good. Or stay in it and slowly watch yourself deteriorate and become somebody who you hate because you're allowing yourself to get hurt. And that happens. Happens to people who are vulnerable. And so just be careful of anybody. Be careful who you date. Do a background check. Find out, about what happened to them in their past relationships. Did they cheat? Did they, you need to know these things because usually they repeat the same cycle with you. And that's it for today. And I hope everybody's doing okay. And this is just a basic video about narcissistic abuse. Thanks.